Ladies and gentlemen, right this very moment, President Trump is currently executing a secret plan that all of us are actually directly involved in. And the best part is, no one had any idea. That is, until now. Now, as you might have noticed, over the last couple of days, certain groups of the MAGA and America First base have been absolutely up in arms over President Trump's proposal to bring in more highly skilled H-1B workers, predominantly from India. But ladies and gentlemen, what if I were to tell you that this wasn't even President Trump's proposal at all, and that, in fact, he actually wants all of us to be mad about it? And so, folks, today we're going to talk about what's really going on here and about what President Trump's secret plan really is. But first, take a look at this.
Going back to 2017, Trump has been leading on this issue.
Widespread abuse in our immigration system is allowing American workers of all backgrounds to be replaced by workers brought in from other countries to fill the same job for sometimes less pay. This will stop. That includes taking the first steps to set in motion a long overdue reform of H-1B visas. They should be given to the most skilled and highest paid applicants, and they should never, ever be used to replace Americans.
Well, that's the clarity and conviction that got him elected twice. And let's face it, no one in elected office during the past, 50 years has been a better champion for the American worker than Donald Trump. It's not even close, period, full stop.
And of course, folks, she's absolutely right. President Trump really is a champion of the American worker, and on top of that, he's been publicly talking about getting rid of the H-1B visa system for years now. At this point, everyone knows that the H-1B visa system is a complete and total scam, a total racket that massive multi-billion-dollar corporations have been abusing for decades now in order to maximize their revenue, all to the detriment of all of us actual American workers. In fact, before we move on and really start breaking down President Trump's secret plan, take a look at this.
Currently, there are supposedly around 700,000 H-1B visa holders in America. Now, who is coming to this country to take these high-skilled jobs? As I mentioned, STEM fields dominate the occupations, and most of the workers come from India. In fact, 70% of H-1B visa holders come from India. Another 10 to 15% come from China. 80% of H-1B visa approvals are for entry-level or junior-level jobs. That's a little hard to stomach when we hear that we're not talented enough or that we're not skilled enough for these jobs, when you consider that most of these jobs are actually at entry or junior-level jobs. And it's definitely to the benefit of corporations, tech companies that can hire foreign workers, trust me on this, cheaper than American workers. This is laid out, by the way, by billionaire tech entrepreneur Palmer Luckey.
There's so much H-1B abuse. You would not believe what I saw when I was in Silicon Valley. It is insane. It's obviously a program to try and replace U.S. workers with basically slave labor that can't ever escape. The H-1B abuse is crazy.
And it's not just Silicon Valley. The Labor Department launched at least 175 investigations targeting potential abuses in the H-1B visa program. They alleged some foreign workers with advanced degrees paid less than what the job description said. That, of course, not only deprives American workers of that job, who have to have the going rate, but it drives down wages for visa holders and American workers.
And so, folks, let the record show the H-1B visa system really is nothing more than an anti-America scam. But then so why, just the other day, was President Trump talking about needing more H-1B visa, highly skilled labor? And so, ladies and gentlemen, this is where we finally get to President Trump's genius master plan here. But before we take a look at that, I do want to say real quick that if you folks enjoy the daily news updates, please consider subscribing to the channel because it really does help a lot. But okay, check this out. You see, President Trump, as with pretty much every other politician in Washington, D.C., unfortunately has to deal with lobby groups, special interests, campaign donors. You know how it is. Now, most politicians just immediately give in to all of these special interest groups. They pretty much just give them whatever they want, even if what they want is obviously terrible for the country, just like the H-1B visa program. And so, in order to navigate all of these Washington, D.C. lobby groups, special interests, and campaign donors, President Trump really has devised what can only be described as a genius strategy. Anytime one of these lobby groups makes a request of him that's just thoroughly bad for the country, like more H-1B visas, for instance, President Trump says, okay, let me run it by my base, let me put this idea in front of the America First electorate, and then let's see how they react to it. And the reason why President Trump does this is because he knows he can count on all of us America First voters to speak up and say, actually, no, we don't want more H-1B visas. And then what does he do? Well, he takes all of our feedback, he puts it in front of the lobby groups and special interests, and he says, sorry, we can't do it. The America First base has spoken. If we do this, our approval ratings are going to plummet. We might end up losing midterms, and we might end up losing the 2028 election. So, ladies and gentlemen, to be very clear about all of this, what exactly is President Trump's secret plan? His secret plan is to leverage all of us America First voters and our deep conviction to the America First agenda against all of the America Last special interest groups. When he floats one of these terrible policy points, he actually wants all of us to get mad so that he can bring our frustration back to the lobby groups and put it down right in front of them. And also, worth making note of real quick, right now, is President Trump, or anyone in his entire administration for that matter, calling anyone a panican? No, and the reason why is because President Trump very clearly actually wants all of our feedback. So folks, if you want to talk about trusting the plan or 5D chess, well, go look in a mirror because you are the plan. President Trump's plan is to leverage your conviction to the America First cause in order to actually put America first. And so, ladies and gentlemen, don't ever make the mistake of falling into the trap of defending bad policy points that are very clearly in direct opposition of the America First agenda, like the H-1B visa program, for instance, because I'm telling you right now, President Trump actually wants all of us to push back against some of this stuff. Because, folks, once again, at this point, we all know that this highly skilled H-1B visa program is a complete and total scam. Take a look.
You've seen this abuse. You've seen this affect American workers?
Oh, yes. Thousands and thousands of American workers. And it's not coming off 5 years of unemployment line. These are workers that have been working decades in these companies who are doing a great job, nothing against them in their employment file, and they're being told by the hundreds. They get together and say, hey, all of you are being fired. You're all being replaced by these new workers. In the end, the workers are paid a lot less, and the bonuses at the end of the year for those CEOs go up dramatically. The foreign workers, like you said, have to have that visa support by the employer. So how are they going to change jobs if they're being paid little and they're being worked to death and the conditions are not great? But what are they going to do? They're stuck with those employers. So they are suffering. And the winner in this isn't the foreign worker. The winner is not the American worker. It's the CEO and the executives who are making millions of dollars off of this cheap labor.
And so, folks, there you have it. But hey, you know who else recently chimed in on this entire situation? Vice President J.D. Vance. Check it out.
This idea that American citizens don't have the talent to do great things, that you have to import a foreign class of servants and professors to do these things, I just reject that. I actually think we invest in our own people, we can do a lot of good. You've heard that criticism in particular as the president has talked about cracking down on foreign student visas and their abuses, but I think that's actually an opportunity for American citizens to really flourish.
And so, folks, that right there is exactly what President Trump wants. But like I said earlier, he needs our help to push back against all of these multi-billion-dollar special interest groups. Really, it's honestly our patriotic obligation as Americans to push back against anything that's at odds with the America First agenda. And in this case, President Trump is pretty much explicitly asking for our feedback that he can then use as leverage to help make that happen. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know about all of you, but as far as I'm concerned, speaking up and helping President Trump push back, fight back against all of these multi-billion-dollar special interest groups is exactly what it looks like to put America first.